Christ.
Holy Lord, you were turning into Alan Lee, giving me an anxiety attack. I was like, oh my God. My heart was beating like, like when you see that stripper at the strip club you want to get a dance with, but she doesn't want to get a dance with you, is beating like that.
Jeez, I haven't been to the strip clubs that much where I've been rejected that many times in a
Holy
row.
Lord.
No, every time they see me, they're like, oh, if he's that fat, he must have a lot of money for food. So he has a lot of money for me. So,
Yeah.
sorry about
Oh,
that.
it's the worst feeling, Victor.
Oh my
So
God. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I went to a strip club with Jake like 2 weeks ago, right? And he's like
Uh,
he talks to this girl. He's like, "Oh, she's so hot. I want to get to dance with her." And they had like a spin the wheel type of thing, so I won a free dance. And I was like, "Okay, I'm going to get a dance from her." Right? So just to piss him off, and so I got a free dance from the girl he wanted, right? And then I
yeah.
spent it again, and I won again, and I was like, "All right, I'm gonna give you the dance, and you could get a dance from Jake." And she's given a dance from Jake, and she's totally not into it. And I was like, "Hey, I'll give you an extra $20 if you act like it's me." And it was just so funny because like I'm making Jake's perfect strip dance horrible, right?
Yeah.
And like she totally doesn't want to give him a dance because Jake's kind of you know Jake, if you're listening, I love you, but you're no Ryan Reynolds, you know what I mean? And
Yeah. 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 Jake is a pseudonym, by the way, for those of you that haven't caught on. Um,
yeah,
you're like, Mexican using an SAT two word. What?
yeah. So the point is that's the anxiety I was getting. So for
Sorry, dude.
for now
Wasn't
on in
even
the
like,
future, if I say 15 minutes, either show up on 15 minutes, don't say 2 minutes and then wait 20 minutes because I was
dude,
like, holy
it
Lord,
was a hard 2 minutes, dude. You have no idea, man.
it was
I,
a hard two
I
minutes.
had to
Vic.
consult with people to let them know, hey, I'm reporting right now. Don't come in. And then having a fucking conversation about all this other shit. And I'm just like,
You, you know
I
the
gotta go.
you know
Gotta
the
go. And
anxiety I get when the guest shows up late.
dude, but I'm not the guest. I was thinking, like, what would be hilarious? Okay, the guest shows up, you're recording, and then I come in during your conversation, like, oh yeah, by the way, this is my co-host Victor. Hey. And they're like, why the fuck you show up late? Well,
Ah, all right. Well, it's good to see you. My heart is back on track.
oh
So,
my god, dude. I was thinking the worst. Like if I show up that late, we'll do opening remarks afterwards. But you know what? I didn't mean to disrespect the show. But by not disrespecting the show, I'm like, you know what? After I had these 3 long ass conversations with people in person, I had to use the bathroom. I was because I had a pee pee, and I've been
oh
drinking
yeah,
my
yeah.
coffee. This is not a Kahlua because this would be humongo if this was a Kahlua. But
Well, we got a great guest today. I'm excited. He's been in the TV show Unreal, where he was the star, Cinderella Man, Dickie Roberts, Scary Movie 4, which ironically just got like retweeted as it came out 20 years ago or something.
dude, more impressive. I mean, I'm sorry, that's all very impressive. But for me, what hits me personally close to home, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and he was one of the fucking journalists.
Oh
And I know
yeah.
exactly who the fuck he was in the movie. And like, it's like I'm not going to get starstruck and be like, where the fuck have I seen this guy? I mean, this happened on this podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're like research this person, and I researched them, and I'm like, I recognize them, or maybe I don't know the movie, but I know them from a scene in the movie,
Yeah.
or like that dude being on The Sopranos, Adrian.
Adrian Martinez, yeah.
Yes, he was on The Sopranos, and I was just like, I should have researched exactly where. I was like, oh yeah, he was in The Sopranos. I was like, during the
Well,
podcast, I'm
see,
like,
I
I know.
didn't know that because I've never seen The Sopranos.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. So you just tune all that shit out.
I just took your word for it. Oh yeah, you were in The Sopranos. Hey, it would have been so funny if he wasn't in The Sopranos.
You took my word for it, dude. Nah, dude. I had to look him up, and then I looked up that scene because I knew
uh,
exactly what scene it was. So like, no, Mister Musto goes to another job,
yeah.
and then so
So
I was just like, holy shit.
so we should probably finish mentioning our guest. He's
I
also been,
thought we were supposed to talk about ourselves during the
no, no,
earlier
no.
remarks because we can't during the podcast.
Yeah, yeah. But he's also in the Change Up. He's been in everything. One of the classic movies. I think it's a classic, a cult classic, Sour Grapes. The great Craig Bierko is going to join us on the Zoom. And whoa, I got an email message. Maybe it's from him.
Jesus Christ, Keith.
No, it's from
Jesus,
Uber Snacks.
Keith, you're an Uber snack.
I know. All righty.
Aren't you German?
I'm part German, yeah. I'm part
Yeah, so
German,
you're
part
Uber,
Latino, part
Uber.
British. You know what's so weird is like all my ancestors are part wherever, and then like you don't think about that because I grew up in the land of San Antonio, right? And you just don't think about that, you know? So like it's so weird because you don't think, "Oh, I have family ancestors that, you know, it's just so crazy, you know what I mean? Like, you don't think about that.
I mean, it's hard to think of it because you're just like, how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah, like,
Like honestly, like if
how
I
did
was there, that would have never happened. It's like, whoa, you just like there's cock blocking, you just birth blocked yourself. Like
yeah,
you go back
exactly.
in time, like it looks like no, 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 this guy's a fucking horrible person, or like this guy's gonna like create all these whatever siblings that hate each other or like whatever. I get along with my siblings, but I know that's not the case for everybody. Like people are like, man, I want to kill my brother, and I'm like, whoa, dude, what the fuck did he do? Did he steal your girl? And it's like, no, and then it's like family drama and shit, and it's just like, I
Hey,
don't know,
hey,
like,
hey, butthead.
dude, you know what, man? I went to the store the other day wearing this hat, and then
Victor's wearing a Beavis and Butthead hat for the folks at home.
dude, and look at the brim. Hey, baby.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
Yeah.
under the hat on the brim. It says, hey,
They
baby.
they should do a live action Beavis and Butthead movie.
Dude, they should not because I
Oh
actually
no, they
like.
should. It would be so great. Who would be Beavis and who would be Butthead?
Oh, I'll tell you who. That dude, Luke Bryan would be Butthead.
Okay, I'm googling Luke Bryan.
You got to Google him because I saw this thing. It's like, yeah, everybody's going crazy about Luke Bryan, and he's like an American Idol or The
Oh
Voice
my
or he's
god, he looks just like Butthead.
okay. So, hold on. By the way, me and Keith did not
Oh my
practice
oh
this
Great
earlier. I've never
Craig
met.
Bierko's here. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
We gotta finish this conversation later. But holy
Okay,
lord, I'm impressed.
all right, sorry. All right.
He looks just like him.
Yeah, I know, dude. And people are like, this guy's a heartthrob. And I'm like, and then someone's like, I can't believe people think this guy's a heartthrob. And it's right next to right next to Butthead.
Yeah.
But I think for
Craig
Beavis, it'd be
Craig is in. He's connecting his audio.
Can you hear me?
Hey Craig, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Awesome.
How are you?
Doing good. Thank you so much for doing the podcast. This is Victor, the trusty sidekick.
Oh,
Hey.
okay.
What's up, Greg? Good to meet you.
I can get my. What a strange shot that is. Weird angles.
Oh, nice.
How's that?
It looks good.
Looks almost like what I look like. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Hey, Craig, I had a question for you.
That's a good way to proceed things in my experience. Otherwise, it's just this.
But no, I had a question. Like when you get work, right? And like they like when you do a play, they show your headshots and your bio and stuff. Do they always
Yeah.
use like the same headshot from like 1994 for you? Because they do it with me on stand-up comedy clubs. Like they use my very first headshot.
That's weird. Well, it has happened. I mean, actually, just this weekend, I just so happened to be doing some photographs for photographs, like of my own grandfather, picture for a movie that I just did, and I said, "Can you pop up?" And the photographer was good. I noticed the photographer was good, so I was like, "Can you just take a couple close-ups so I can just send them to me?"
Yeah.
And they were really, as long as you give them credit, you know. But no, I try to stay up to date with that. But that's happened before. I do have photographs from, uh, with gelled hair,
Yeah.
from 1990. I have, I have my first ones from literally, I think 1982. I still have them. I don't use them anymore, obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah, a while. But I try to stay on top of that. That's usually. I mean, do you have a manager or an agent or something?
I do, yeah. And I think that they just like using my young headshots because I don't know, more sexy, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what
Yeah,
the
but
whole deal is.
the way you look. I mean and that's not any bearing on. I have no opinion, but I mean, you want to just have a picture that looks the way you look, so
Yeah, yeah.
nobody's either surprised or aghast, or it just should be represent who you are. It's a tool.
Yeah.
It's not a it's not like a pickup tool, you
No,
know.
no, definitely, yeah. Well, I think it's
Right.
also different because of stand-up comedy versus like acting and stuff. Like in a way, stand-up is like one of the worst respected forms of the entertainment industry, right? Because they just go to laugh. But with acting, they go to escape. You know what I mean?
I don't know how that would be reflected in the picture in the program, but anyway, I don't think that stuff really matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If you go and you walk out thinking good photos, probably not. Same thing with a stand-up comic. Do you think he was funny? Well, I thought the photograph was representative of the way that he looked. I'll give him that. I mean, it's a way to get your foot in the door. Really, it's the only I know for the longest time, and now with social media and stuff, it's changed. But for a while, that was. I mean, when I graduated school, which was in 1986,
Uh-huh.
the only tool you had was your picture, and you just send that all the hell all over the place. Try to get an agent, and then your agent has a little bit wider reach and would send it all over the place
Yeah.
until you started material on yourself,
Yeah.
you know,
Definitely.
and a real together.
And then I wanted to start off because I saw that you retweeted today's the 19th or the 20th year anniversary of Scary Movie 4. And how ironic is that? Because you're doing a scary podcast now. I don't know.
Oh, is this scary?
No,
Know
no,
that
no, no. I was just trying to make you laugh.
it's not going well.
Oh no, I think it's
Hey, they always love. I think of everything I've done. That's certainly among the top that I've ever done. My favorites, just because I had such a good time working with David Zucker, who
airplane.
uh,
Yeah,
an airplane and all that stuff, and Craig Mazin, who went on to do other stuff, and everybody involved was great. But I mean, I really loved doing that. What do they call it? They called it the fourth movie in the trilogy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which is so cool because usually a trilogy only has three, but Scary Movie
but
had.
was them being really funny.
Yeah, yeah. That was the tagline.
They could have been more self-deprecating. I mean, I walked through the door the first day, and they said hello and why. Why would you do this?
Why did
No,
you do it?
whoa.
Why did you do it? Because like you knew. I mean, going into the after the first film, it was like incredibly. But did you think you were gonna have fun though? I mean, okay, we just got the money gesture for
Yeah.
the viewers at home not watching this without the video, but actually there is no video, so I mean, you
Um,
knew it was gonna be a hit though, right? Because every single
I'll
scary movie.
never know anything's going to be a hit. I think the most
Oh,
certain the most. I mean, who would know? I mean, first of all, it was number 4. It
Yeah.
wasn't even 3. I wasn't tracking. For me, it was about David Zucker. I hadn't seen any of them, and so they said, take a look at number 3. That's the one it will most closely resemble. And I'd always heard that everybody's favorite was, well, I don't know everybody, but most people seem to love 2, and they loved 3. Um, but I think 2 more,
Yeah.
And the first one was done by a different group of people. But it
The
didn't take
Wayans brothers. Yeah.
the Wayans brothers. And I'm sure very funny movie, never saw it, but not my sensibility, a little bit more of like sort of I think kind of a next generation type Zucker movie. I mean,
Yeah.
the Zucker, that whole Zaz group, they had a formula that was very exacting. They had what they called a Bible, which was like 5 or 6 pages of just single space typed out rules that you couldn't break. That if you saw, you could watch it along with Airplane and go, God, they're not breaking any of these rules, and they're very specific.
Mhm.
And what happened, and I think hastened the end of those kinds of movies, those I don't know if they're satire, but those sort of Mad Magazine, Hell's a Poppin' type, their own brand of it, starting with Airplane, probably a Kentucky Fried Movie, but really Airplane when it got commercial. What hastened the end of it were all the copycat movies, where they didn't have access to that Bible, and so the stuff that seemed obvious but really wasn't, was really built in. It was very meticulous. They were very meticulous about their comedy. They're also pretty clean cut, which um, you wouldn't guess, because they were very good. You probably know this as a comic. You can create the illusion of crossing the line by painting the line a little bit shorter than the actual line, and
Yeah.
then when
Yeah.
you step the line, it seems like, wow, that guy's gone a little bit too far, but it's okay. It's really funny. But you never really step over the line, which would be for them. I think they were from Wisconsin. Was that it? I know it was the Midwest, but they were good boys. They were brought up well. They were kind mannered, and although their comedy was, you know, very new and avant garde, they were who they were. They came from where they were, very much from where they came from, and they wouldn't make fun of somebody's religion. They
Right.
wouldn't do that. So they created the illusion. I mean, I a lot of the scenes that I did in that movie, um, sort of they came very close to making fun of. I mean, they definitely made fun of like Tom Cruise on the couch,
Yeah.
but there was a scene that was really, really funny. And it was, I don't know if you're probably not old enough to remember like the actual events, but he got into an argument on some morning TV show
Tom Cruise did.
about
Yeah.
Tom Cruise got into an argument. Um, pardon me, I can't remember the host, but they got into an argument about the use of antidepressants or something like that.
Okay.
And he was coming at it from his religion's point of view,
Right.
and got into a big argument. And they wrote a really funny scene about, no, the cure for everything is push-ups. And he argues really vehemently. And I really couldn't wait to do that scene. He said, we can't. I said, why? Was the studio not okay with push-ups? He goes, no, it's not the studio, it's our own sensibility. We felt it crept a little too close to making fun of his religion,
Right.
which they don't believe in, antidepressants. They don't believe in medication. And whatever your opinion is about that, you can't. That was a line. That was a line for them. That was an example of like, the illusion of the line that they would cross, and then the actual line that they would never cross, which was usually, obviously making fun of a handicap or making fun of a religion or any kind of limitation that the person didn't impose on themselves.
Yeah. Hey, so I was thinking that because you did your own talk show called Bathing with Bierko, and I thought it was so funny. And
Hysterical.
your first guest was John Malkovich, and I think you should bring it back and ask Tom Cruise to do it.
You know, the so that's the only episode we ever made.
Oh my god!
We made another one with Richard Dreyfuss,
Yeah.
who called, thought it was really funny, wanted to do it. And so we thought, well, God, yeah. Well, he came up with his daughter and his wife, and he got into and he wouldn't take his shirt off.
Yeah.
And we shot it, and it was really, really funny. He was like, anything you want. And we do, we had a really, but he wouldn't take his shirt off. And by that time we realized, the key to this whole thing is you're looking at something you really shouldn't be looking at.
Right.
I have all the footage, and it was kind of an ugly scene because the guy I was working with at the time he's like, let's just put it out there. It's Richard Dreyfuss, for crying out loud. And I said, no, the idea of this thing is that it's just it's not even awkward. It's wrong.
Right.
It's just because it's essentially, it'd be one thing if you even made a nod. There was a show, the genesis of that idea was there was a show in the late 80s called Talking with Burt, or Burt Reynolds, or something like that. Talking with Burt Reynolds. And it was it always seemed to be like it was him, the guys like Jim Neighbors and Dom DeLuise, and guys he used to hang out with, and they were very funny together, and they had this sort of their inside jokes, but it was shot with a very soft, fuzzy lens,
Yeah.
And it seemed, I mean, I don't know who was or wasn't, but it just had this patina of being really gay. And I was joking with a friend about 10 years before I shot this thing, wouldn't it be funny to shoot a show where there's just one man bathing another? And at that time, I pictured like in a cabin, sitting on the tub, sort of bathing the guest, just make it overtly gay. And he said that would be really funny. And then I let it sit for a long time, as I do with basically everything I ever do. And I pitched it to another friend, and he said, no, I think it shouldn't be gay, and it should just be odd. Like you're just in the, or by that time I had actually figured out that was what I wanted to do, because it was in a friend's bathtub, and I realized it was too small for me.
Yeah.
And I thought if I could get another guy in here and interview him, and we're literally like luge style, and we just pretend it's Charlie Rose instead of it's a tub. And the reason John Malkovich is a brilliant actor, obviously, but what's so brilliant about that is that he asked for one piece of direction, and I just said it's instead of the table, it's the bath, and just pretend this is the way every other talk show is done, because talk shows are crazy to begin with. It's two men in makeup,
right?
One guy desk that's not functional at all. It has no meaning. He's not working behind a desk. Why is he behind a desk? And they're pretending to have an intimate conversation. So really, it could be anything.
Yeah.
It could, it could be anything. So in this case, I said, I just want to make it absurd. It happens to be a bath and not a desk. And that's just pretend that's the way all of them. And he goes, okay. Surprised he wanted to do it. And I said, I pitched the show to him because we had the same agent, and she got me and I pitched the show to him, and he went, okay. And I said, let me tell you the idea again. I want to have said it twice before you show up. Yeah.
But no, you're absolutely right about talk shows, and I think like that's why podcasts are, I feel, more popular and more entertaining than talk shows, because a podcast you have 45 minutes to an hour to really get to know the guests and know who they are, like as a person. On a talk show, on panel, you only have that 8 minutes. You know what I mean?
8 minutes, and they're rehearsed to within an inch of their life. Not rehearsed actually, but unless you're a huge star. But anytime I've ever done a talk show, you call the segment producer, you talk on the phone for an hour, and you come up, you say, here, they say, what's some interest, what have you been up to? You basically have this interview.
Oh,
and and you it's closer to a podcast with the segment producer,
right.
who is there to not be the star of the show, and to just kind of get out of the way of the story, and also knows what's going to fit in with the show. Oh, tell that story but leave this out, highlight this, I'll pitch this to so and so, I think they'll like this. Then they call you back, he's going to respond here, and then you arrive at the show and you basically get a script of, he'll introduce you, he'll ask you this and lead you into this story, he'll make this remark. I mean, it's really, I love doing them. I happen to love talk shows. I love the form, but I watch, now that there's so many of them, I hardly watch them at all. And yeah, I mostly listen to podcasts.
I I toured with Norm Macdonald for 9 years, and I was his assistant. And yeah, and he did Conan a lot, and he had that talk with the people, and he always be like, so they said I had to highlight these stories, and then he's like, I don't have a fucking highlighter.
Highlighter. Oh, I miss Norm. I bet you miss him a lot.
Oh yeah, he was my best friend. Yeah, so, but
that's a horrible loss. I listen to him all the time.
Yeah.
Now they have, online they have, oh God, these 7-hour, collections of. I'll listen to him when I'm trying to sleep. Sometimes, if I can't sleep in the middle of the night, I'll listen to him, and they've just got 7 hours of his interviews. I've heard everything probably 11 times. When they passed, he was one of them. Gary Shandling too. There's some people, they passed, Richard Lewis, of course. You just feel like with each one, it feels like you've moved like 5 feet. The whole planet's moved 5 feet further away from the sun.
Yeah.
And Norm was one of them. I can't say. I mean, that's incredible. I wonder if so. Were you the new voice of comedy that he kept introducing?
Oh, that was Sean O'Connor.
Okay.
I was the hidden gem of comedy.
What's that?
I said I was the hidden gem of comedy. Sean O'Connor was the future of comedy.
Okay.
Yeah.
He seemed to delight in kind of, he seemed very generous in some of the appearances of just sort of making sure to promote whoever was touring with him.
Yeah.
And also, but making fun of them and having fun with it at the same time. What a genius!
But like, for example, this weekend was actually really tough on me because OJ died. Even though I don't care about OJ at all. Just when he died, a lot of Norm stuff came up because Norm had a big career of making fun of OJ. So it was like just very. I just felt in a way that was just kind of wrong to bring back the jokes like that. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yes, I do know. I mean, I'm I among my friends, people know that I'm a big Norm fan. So like, yeah, when OJ died, everybody sent me that, the collection of SNL. Of course, I've seen them a million times, but I didn't open one of them, and I didn't want to hear. It took me a while to even get on, because Norm would go for it. He'd go for the jugular, and he was fearless. When you first get exposed to something new, it's new. You don't know what it is. I mean, I remember when he started on SNL, and when he was doing, I really noticed him when he started doing the news, obviously, and the delivery, the just that stare into the camera.
Yeah. Kind of
Eight
like what you're
seconds.
doing right now.
Oh my God. I really loved that. Um, and then it took me a while because the OJ thing was happening in real time.
Yeah.
And I always, I don't know what it is, but even if it's somebody's doing, it seems so clear. Yes, that OJ did this thing, but there were also stories going around in real time that he was taking the rap for his son.
Oh yeah.
That
I
I
heard
mean,
that.
that was a story. It didn't really take popular route, but I was living in Los. My mom came out to visit me, and she was so into the case. She made me drive the route
Oh
from
my,
the.
from the Bronx.
My mom is not like that. My mom's not like that, But she was. This was like it was like watching Dynasty or something because that's how popular it was. That's how much it grabbed everybody. But I always it took me a while to get past how hard he was going after OJ because I was like, the man is, we don't know. We really don't know. And what if it turns out that it's something else?
Yeah.
But obviously, you, what was definitely true is whether or not that was true, whatever was happening was Norm's funniness was, 10 feet above everything. So it was, I don't know. I can't say enough about the guy. And what's sad is just knowing what would he be doing right now? What
Yeah.
would he be doing 10 years from now? I think he would have, I think despite his own self, uh, he would always say that he was a horrible actor and stuff, but I think he was actually a good actor and a
Yeah,
great mimic.
but he
I think,
was actually a good actor, but he didn't enjoy acting because he didn't feel free.
but I think, I can relate. I mean, it took me a long time. I think most actors, if they're being honest or they're not crazy, it takes a long time uh, and sometimes you can be pretty good. Like it was a limited run, and I think we're going to come back this show on Broadway called Windows. I was just on stage like 2 weeks ago, and there was one performance where I went, I'm really kind of flying right here.
Yeah.
Other performances where you're like, they can't possibly be buying this. And the difference is that nobody knows, it's just shit that's going on inside of your head. He was great. And the enjoyment, it's work. Like, I'm sure he didn't enjoy every second on stage. It's not possible. There had to be nights he got on stage and he was, I don't know, I'm sure maybe he didn't want to, but he was obligated. There had to
Yeah.
have been. He wasn't a
Not
robot.
not in stand up. He loved it. He loved I saw Norm do you want to hear I've told this story on the podcast before, but Norm did a 7 o'clock show and a 10 o'clock show. That's how the stand-ups usually work. So he did the 7 o'clock show. The 7 o'clock show didn't get out till 11 p.m. And then the 10 o'clock show, he's like, I feel bad for the 10 o'clock show. And then I was like, why? He's like, because they're not getting out of here until 2. So, so like he really loved doing stand-up. So that was where he felt the most
There,
free.
I mean, he was sick, clearly. There were nights where maybe like it could have just been a physical thing, even if his spirit wanted it and needed
Yeah.
to be on stage, he physically just wasn't feeling well.
Yeah.
Did you ever time like that? Ever?
Well, well, he told me he had cancer during the pandemic. So now that after it happened, I see the signs, but when it was happening, I didn't see the signs. Does that make sense?
Yes. Also, looking back, like I remember he did those shows from his home
Yeah.
where he
The
would
the
all
the the Zoom norm shows. He
yeah,
called
yeah, yeah.
Saget and yeah.
And he really looked like clearly he was going, and I thought, oh, maybe he's just like he dyes his hair and he's not dyeing his hair, or he's maybe he's got COVID, so he's just having like a bad week. I mean, it hit people really hard, some people. So I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah. But I wanted to circle to the chain. What?
Oh, I was just going to say, getting back to the main point was, I mean, that would just make him, the guy found what he truly loved to do in life. But you had said he didn't enjoy acting. He didn't.
Yeah.
I know very few actors who, enjoy it 100%. It is ultimately a job, and it's weird to do something that usually if something is well written and it's important, you're looking at a character's like, this is the most important moment of their entire life. And the reality is, you've just had somebody doing this to your face, and they every time you do a take, they come in and they do this, and you're trying to ignore. It's the most important moment of your life, and you're in love with this person, and you've got to tell them, and she's just a C word, you hate them.
Yeah.
Crossword puzzle, if you get my meaning.
No, I got it a little too late though. I'm sorry.
She's a cup. She's an empty cup.
Yeah.
A big wide cup. Dry, empty, wide cup. And you have it, and then you got to move in slowly, and she goes, okay. And now you've got to go in and you've got to kiss this horror of a human being, and it's 5:30 in the morning, or whatever it is. It's freezing, or you just broke up with somebody, or somebody you love just died, and you're like, I gotta talk to this nincompoop. Or you're not ready. You haven't found the scene yet, and you're dying. And so I mean, there are things in it that are not enjoyable.
Yeah.
My limited experience, I dated a comic for a while and was around, and been around them a lot, and got on stage a couple of times and thought, what a ridiculous kind of self-torture this can be, while you're chasing an idea, and the audience, and you're chasing the idea, and the only way to do it is in front of other people.
Yeah.
And the other people are like, Jesus, you're wasting our time. It's just, I mean, it's, it's awful. But that's art. That's the way you have to do it. You've got to, a lot of it is, I asked a writer, because I'm trying to write more and more, and I've always wanted to, and he's this great writer, this guy named Jay Kogan. He used to run Frasier, a lot of TV shows, and he has a podcast now, like everybody. But I asked him like years ago, what can you tell me about writing, like that? Just give me some advice to start from. And he goes, I can tell you beginning to end, really what it is how much pain can you stand?
Yeah.
Pain can you take? Because you think you've got something, you have that first flush of an idea, and then you sit down and realize, oh God, I've got the story from like A to M, but I got to get to Z, and I've skipped L, and
Yeah.
I have no idea if there's a U here, whatever. And it's an endless series. It's just self-discipline.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if my whole point 3 days ago when we started this part of the conversation was, I just think I think he would have been an excellent actor as he aged. I think he could have been an excellent actor. You never know. And if he wasn't passionate about it, he wouldn't have chased it. But I think it would have. I could see him being sort of, even if it was, as he got older, just a Strother Martin or a great character actor. But also, even as a younger guy, he was an extraordinarily handsome man. That guy.
Oh, Norm. You're talking about Norm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But Norm, sometimes when you look at him, even on Letterman, when he'd gotten heavy and then he'd taken the weight off. I think it was the one I just sent it to somebody the other day because I wanted them to see it. They sent me the joke where it's so funny, and I didn't realize this, but this guy's people think I don't know every single routine backwards and forwards, but they sent me. He was on Letterman and said, you know, I when I had my kid, it was the most exciting thing that ever happened to me in the world, and then I went hang gliding, right? And so he came back a couple years later, and Letterman wanted to lead him through the same bit for some reason.
Yeah.
And he said, nah, when you had your child, it was the most exciting thing that ever happened to you. And then, but you tried something else. He goes, yeah, crystal meth. And Letterman didn't expect it. And he did the thing, stayed there smiling. And he goes, no, I thought you were going to say hang gliding. He goes, oh, and they just kind of laughed together. It's this great moment. Also, I didn't understand, like, I never caught before. Like, he did this bit on Letterman, and then he found a funnier way to tell it. Or he did it the way he did it in clubs, you know, and couldn't do it on, like, they didn't approve it the first time and said, well, find something other than crystal meth.
Right.
And then he just thought, fuck it, I'm going to say whatever I want. I think
that's what it was. I think it was more of fuck it, I'm just going to say what I want, because that's what he did. Yeah.
Now, do you think a lot of that had to do with his diagnosis? That he sort of knew he had a limited amount of time, or was he always that way?
He was always that way. I mean, you know, like I said, I found out he had cancer in, you know, March 2021, and he died in September. So there's, you know, no way where, you know what I mean? And I've known him for 13 years. I toured with him for 9 years. So I knew him before he had the cancer, and he's always been daring like that. So I don't think the
I knew,
cancer changed him at all like that.
like I don't know if it was sort of, we say that there's like there are levels of sociopathism that are, some of them are socially acceptable, actually.
Yeah.
And what they're the guys you want, you know, running the country. They're the ones who make difficult decisions. And it's not because he seemed to have a very tender heart. He's not somebody that I'm not implying anything anyway, but like comedically, like, I think certain things can probably click on stage where you're like, I want to move the ball forward for myself, but also for comedy just in general. I don't want to fall into a rut.
Yeah.
And so that's going to, it just seemed like there were certain guys like him. I'm trying to think of Drake Sather, rest his
Oh my
soul.
God, Drake Sather. He had the best joke where he was like, Craig, I was shaving the other day and I cut my Adam's apple and I got apple juice everywhere. It's my favorite joke.
Who told me a joke? They said it's the darkest thing. I mean, and I love dark humor, which was what really drew me to well, to a lot of guys. I mean, was it Gary Shandling? I used to not like because he was so middle of the road that he was.
Right.
He would kind of blend in with everybody, and it wasn't until Larry Sanders that I really thought, oh my God, this guy's going for it, and he's really dark, and also he's trying to do something. Like, he's chasing the acting thing. He really wants, and he's investigating himself. Like, he really wants to get as close to, you know, and there were different people, obviously, but similar in the sense that they were being true to themselves. They had their own gravity seemed to be pulling them. And that was this. I'd never met Drake Sather. He would have been out there. I guess he would have been out there because I got out there at like 88, but it took me a while to find my way around, and then, you know, once I started working to begin meeting people, it's possible we could have run across each other. And I was going to clubs a lot, you know, because I love stand up. and in 88, 89, 90, the Improv was the white hot core of Los Angeles. Everybody was there. You just, movie stars, everybody. It was so exciting. So I'm sure I must have seen him on stage at some point. But I saw so much that it blurred together. But I was there a couple of years ago, and who was it? Why am I blanking on his name? But it's Ruben. Do you know? He's a writer.
Ruben Paul.
No, his last name's Ruben. I can't believe I'm blanking on his first name. But anyway, he's a good friend, and I can't remember his first name, which is more about my age and my mental condition than anything else. But I'll remember it.
We
But
could call him John Ruben instead of John Doe.
John Ruben. I could actually look it up, but I don't care enough. But not gonna do anything. I'll tell you, he's a nice guy, but he's not gonna do anything for my career. You know what I mean? Fuck Ruben. So fuck Ruben is telling me this Drake Sather story, and he said, that he committed suicide. I said,
yeah.
And he had a wife. And I know that was like messy, like they were together, then they weren't together. I don't know if he had kids. Did he have kids?
Yeah. So I heard this story, what Norm told me, because Norm was his best friend. He said, because Drake Sather wrote Zoolander, and he said, yeah, he killed himself, and he shot himself. And I was like, oh my God, that's terrible. He's like, yeah, but he did it in a kind of funny way, because he had a big house and he put different notes in each room, and he said, this way to the body, and then the police would go to the other room and the note would say, wrong room, moron. And it would just
the one that I heard that killed me was, I don't want to live in a world where they canceled Friends. That just killed me.
Yeah. Well, Craig, we want to respect your time, and I have 2 questions. I know Victor has a question, so can we ask these questions real fast?
Once in a while, that you flash a picture of Victor, and I'm like, wow, incredibly small studio audience, or we just have a bad connection, and this poor guy like been around the call. And what's the matter with the dog? I don't think he knows his dog is dead.
No, my dog I'm smashing if this were to be in real life, because my dog's actually behind me. This is a small dog park. Mine's a little gremlin versus this huge Great Dane, but the Great Dane is 6 months old, right? And so the owner decided to take it to the small dog park, and everybody was like, oh my God, get this monster out of here. That dog belongs at the big dog park. And I'm like, it's a 6-year-old little puppy. And my dog was the only one that had the nerve, the gall, the audacity to step up to this huge Great Dane that is like at least 10 times bigger than her. And then that's a 6-month-old versus at the time like a year and 3 months old. Like, so it's like they're both puppies. They're puppies.
I'm looking at every relationship I've ever had. That's basically me and every girl I've ever been with. I am not trying to. It's okay. Yeah. No, this is intimacy. Oh man, I lost my dog like 2 years ago, and it still fucking hurts.
Yeah.
It's still hard. They're the greatest creatures, and the greatest creatures. And then, I
love every dog. Like, I've been trying to walk for exercise, and I don't stop unless there's a dog. I will stop and I will get down.
Have you been doing the walk? How much do you walk every day? Walk. How much?
2 to 4 miles.
Yesterday,
2 to 4 miles.
Yeah, because I'm trying to lose a couple of pounds, and more than a couple of pounds, but I read, and there's all kinds of stuff on YouTube of like, just walk. You don't need to run, because I'm like,
it's unhealthy to run nowadays. The older you get.
Gentlemen.
Just walk. You walk twice as long as you would run. It's the same thing. So at first I thought, well, you get your 10,000 steps in, because I got my Apple Watch. yesterday I just thought, fuck it, man. I really am having trouble. Got a bit of I got to get into the subglutinous, whatever they call it, that pot belly. And the guys, and I just looked up different people. I said, no, man, 20,000 steps. Do 20,000 steps instead of 10. I said, 10's kind of easy, so I'll do 20. I'm doing it, and I'm listening to one of these videos while I'm doing it. It goes, what you don't want to do is do it all at once. But now I'm in already. You know, park, and it's Central Park, and it's like, I got to wrap this up because I'm going to get mugged and raped. So I've got like, I'm at like 11,000, and I'm like, I better. So I double time it, and I'm starting to feel it, you know, in my wheels a little bit. But I did it, and it took me 3 hours. It was just 3 hours of usually, but at a normal pace, it's like 4. If you just walk, it's like 4. But I was trying to go 20 fast. You know, that kind of like asshole walking, you know. But I just want, I'm committed to it. The walking thing. Okay, we're brothers in walking. It works.
It definitely works. I think everyone counts numbers differently and looks at the numbers differently, because as a fat guy,
counts numbers differently, not 2 people in the entire world. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I meant like we all give different emphasis on different numbers. Let me rephrase it. That's what I meant. And what I meant was that I've always been really big. Well, as a big dude, like I heard, and this has been true for me. If you walk for 20 minutes straight, your walk doesn't start until after the 20th consecutive minute. And so, like, if you walk for 4, like my walks are an hour, but really it's a 40-minute walk, because the first 20 minutes is you getting, you know, warmed up and getting, like, you know, getting your body in the, I'm in the workout mode. Now I'm, you know, losing calories. So that's why it's like,
first thing I wanted, prediction. This segment, podcast award alone. If you don't submit this, fucking crazy, because this is gold.
Okay.
But are you doing it every day?
Yeah. That's the one thing that's okay. So this is what the honest truth. I used to get really drunk and take a bunch of Xanax and go to the dog park with my dog and chase my dog around for 3 hours straight, 6 days a week. I'm not even joking. And then I'd be like, and everyone would look at me like, okay, this guy might be crazy, but he's a safe crazy. So.
Well, no, I did that. I mean, I stopped drinking like 20 years ago, but I do remember, like, one of the warning signs was, I don't think I should be having like a shot to go to the dog park. I mean, kind of like that should be pleasant on its own.
Yeah.
I guess the voices of my head were saying, don't take a shot, drink a full 8-ounce cup of tequila and take 4 milligrams of Klonopin, not Xanax, because no one knows what Klonopin is. So take 4 milligrams of Xanax, smoke 3 joints, go to the dog park, and just say hi to everybody, even though in Santa Monica, everybody's like they're showing up with their $400,000 car and their $2 million huge what are those big dogs from Hooch and Turner?
Those. Okay, yeah.
They're like $400,000 dogs to $4 million dogs, and then they show up in their like Range Rover SUV, and I'm just like, they get haircuts twice a week. I'm like, okay, why are you going to a public dog park? I mean, whatever. Sorry.
Yeah, dog parks are insane, and the people are crazier than the dogs. Yeah.
Oh my god! Someone tried to buy my dog at the dog park.
Skipping around a little. Your hat. Now this Beavis and Butthead sketch on SNL this weekend.
I did
not. We were
wear
just talking about this.
I did not wear this because of the sketch. We were just talking about it.
I'm an outlier. Okay, so I'm just gonna say it. In the spirit of Norm, I'll be an outlier.
Was it stupid or was it great?
Like, this was not only the funniest sketch of this. This may have been the funniest sketch of all fucking time. And I was like, it was mildly interesting. Kudos to the makeup people, and I can't remember the name of the guy, the black guy who's been in the cast forever. He's hilarious.
Kenan Thompson.
He's great. The girl who was doing it, who couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, give me a little bit of a Fallon break. Like,
Right.
hold it together. Not, did you not, like, it's not. And also, I was like, not that. I watched it a couple times. I thought, what did I miss? That's my outlier remark. Was I don't buy it. I don't. I thought it was mildly amusing at best. I don't understand what the real comic idea of it was. No, and I'm not like one of these guys. Like, it's got to be socially relevant. But it was like literally, kudos to the hair and makeup people. The end.
Yeah.
Did you feel it was? Be honest with me. Were you guys talking about it going the greatest?
No, we were actually talking about how the SNL thing didn't come up. We were talking about how they should do a live action movie of Beavis and Butthead, and we were talking about who they should cast. And Victor said, Victor, who'd you say? You said,
I said, I don't know about Beavis, but I think Butthead should be Luke Bryan.
and I said I should be Beavis.
He's a country singer. I don't know him. Wait, who should be Beavis? You?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I could gel my hair and make it look like fish. Huh, Craig? Huh?
Yes, you can gel your hair and make it look like fish.
That was from the Change Up, baby.
My Gelman. Gelman, help me out. He's talking about fish hair. It'd be great if I had.
I wanted to ask you one thing about the Change Up, because it seems like during that whole scene, Fred Stoller never saw a Lorno in his life, and he was just like,
listen, Fred Stoller was hilarious. I had met him before, but I'd never spent time with him. So I'm there for like 3 days doing this scene, and we're taking the van back and forth. And he had lines, he had stuff to do, but the scene turned into whatever it was, and it was more about me yelling ridiculous things at Ryan. And then this woman came out in the makeup department with these giant Marty Feldman crazy fake tits, and with the nipple here and here. And it was so visually ridiculous that I think I was supposed to be yelling at him and kind of abusing Stoller, who was also yelling. Just whatever I yelled, he was yelling. And Stoller's hilarious. And they basically cut him out. So he was like, I don't even know why I'm here. I don't know why I'm here. He had this running thing going on, and it's still hilarious to me. And I don't even know what it was, but he just kept, in between shots, he would go, this is my new bit. And he would just sit down with some extras, and he would go, hi, I'm John. My name's John. Call me John. And I'd say, hey, John, see, I'm John. I'm just John. Out of this world. No idea what he was doing. And for some reason, absolutely hilarious. His bit was the biggest non-bit. Just pretend my name is John. Nobody knew what his name was anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I love Fred Stoller. I also thought he acquitted himself really well when Robert Blake didn't show up to do that episode of Norm's show.
Yeah.
And then, Stoller's the easy call because he's like right down the street.
Yeah. He
shows up, and then he's just taking so much of Norm's shit, who's just setting him up. What was the one great one where he starts talking about that guy Fish, the serial murderer,
yeah,
killer.
Albert guy's Fish. A real jerk. Yeah
he was a real jerk.
Yeah.
And he also he would kill exclusively. Oh no, he did that to Andy Dick, where he goes, he would kill exclusive. No, he did it to Stoller too.
He did it on a lot of them.
He'd kill exclusively gay men, and don't laugh, because he'd set him up and make him an African American. So what are you laughing? Yeah. That's not fun. Appropriate. Just the way he corners people. God, I miss him and love him. Anyway.
I loved it because I was actually a writer on that podcast, and I remember Fred said he slept with Kathy Griffin, and Norm was like, what? And like they were just grilling him like that. And he's like, well, I kind of sort of did. And he's like, what does that mean?
I just want to know about I mean, I don't want to bore your viewers, although I would imagine your viewers are as into Norm as I am at the very least. But like, all I want that I like that was all I watched during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Was
I'll send you a red sports hat.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I'll send you one.
Oh, that
Yeah.
would be great.
I have
I
like
had
10
this.
of them.
I had this made. I mean, I don't know if it seemed funnier in my head, but
Make red hats again. I
that's
think
as
we lost
political.
Victor for a second.
What's that?
I said I think we
Oh, well,
lost Victor for a second. Okay, well I wanted to ask
yeah,
can I ask a quick question about sour grapes?
anything you want.
Okay.
I, I
So
I've been leading the conversation, so it's
yeah.
barely in anything you want.
Okay, well I have one question. I know Victor had a question. But sour grapes, I thought it's one of those movies that it's like a cult movie where like I think it's really funny, but I also feel like maybe when it came out, people didn't get the humor. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. It's hard for me to be objective. I know while we were making it, like we really thought, and it's dangerous to think this way, but it really felt like this is like producers funny. This is going to be like the producers,
Yeah.
which is, and then the minute you have a thought like that, if you say it out loud, God's like, oh, I wish you didn't say that out loud. You know, you're not going to do very well with this movie. We gotta. It wasn't out of arrogance. We just had such a good time. I don't. That movie. I mean, honestly, it sounds like I'm speaking in hyperbole, but Sour Grapes, scary movie. Um, Certainly, Long Kiss Goodnight. There were a couple movies that stood out where it was what I remember was having so much fun.
Yeah.
And a lot of the other ones, the work. It was the work. Sour Grapes is one of those I could not wait to get to work. First of all, I revered Larry David. I revered him because already I'd been such a Seinfeld fan. I used to have lunch every day with a friend of mine, this guy named Scott Silver. He's a writer. He's doing very well now, but at the time he wasn't doing well. And
Mhm.
he would be an example of, the guy Jay Kogan, who I referred to earlier. I said, what advice can you give me about writing? It was, how much pain can you stand? Scott Silver was the living embodiment of, he I'd known him from college, but for 10 years, we would go and have lunch every single day at a place called the Flowering Tree on Santa Monica. I don't know if it's still there. We'd go there, we'd have lunch, and he would write from 9 in the morning till 1. Then we'd meet for lunch. And he wrote every day. And then he finally got, enough. He wrote a script called John's, which was a low budget movie. He got it made. It was very good, enough so that he could begin, sending stuff around to the studios, and everybody at that point was making movies, they're of old TV shows.
Right.
So it came to him, and he, they were going to make a movie of the Mod Squad, and they said, write it and direct it. And he wrote it and directed it. It didn't do well, and he had to go to what they call director jail. And then he wrote, he kept at it. He didn't stop. A lot of people would have been discouraged because you go to director jail. It's like you're not gonna sell or do anything much for.
Yeah. Unless someone bails you out.
Yeah, yeah. Essentially, that's what it is. Essentially, joke, but like, yeah, unless somebody does a favor for you, it's gonna be 2 years before everybody even takes a meeting with you because there's a stench of a big financial failure, and that's all it is money. Well, anyway. The next one, he just kept writing. He didn't stop. The very next morning, he was writing at 9 o'clock. I've never seen anything like it. And a couple of years, I think in a year or two, he wrote 8 Mile, right?
Yeah, with Eminem, yeah.
Then he wrote The Fighter. Now that's nominated. And I remember driving by this little bungalow going, Jesus, that guy is at the Oscars right now. My friend's like at the Oscars. And then he wrote Joker. I mean, he's done other stuff too, but he wrote Joker, and now he's got Joker 2 coming out. And it got so big that instead of just announcing like his next movie, you're big when they're like announcing your next house.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So he literally is like, he's got this house, and I see this thing and I go, oh my God. And I just wrote him this big long note, and I said, I just noting this because he's the quintessential guy who'd be like, man, whatever, because we used to say, this is the way he used to look at life. We used to meet at the flowering tree. Anyway, I wrote him this note just to say, man, you did it. And I'm here to tell you that in case you do a number on yourself or somebody's trying to tell you how great you're doing, I was there from the beginning, and I saw when you had literally 2 nickels to rub together. You got up every morning, and I've never admired anybody more. It's pure discipline. And now you've got this fucking house as news. I mean, and I'm just saying, good for you. That's it. And please accept that, whether you're psychologically incapable of doing it or not. I'm telling you, I saw you from the beginning. This is incredible. Give yourself 5 minutes of credit. He was sort of like, whatever,
I heard that. So like, I heard that your note said, please put me in Joker 2.
No, I'd never asked that or anything like that. But I remember we were sitting at the flowering tree, and this was in the midst of, it doesn't matter how you're doing. I think I was probably like off to do Sour Grapes or something like that.
Yeah.
And we're going pretty well, but we both felt the same way. And he said, do you realize that the only thing we have in life is Seinfeld and Ambien? That's all I've got. Seinfeld and Ambien. I did the numbers. That's all I've got. I thought that was a little bit of a long lead up to that, but it was the truth.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter like how well you were or weren't doing, because at that point, what were we? We were, late 20s, early 30s. And you're just like, oh man, breakups. And I mean, these things that just took on operatic proportion,
Yeah.
It was also world. It was just that things work differently. But
well, hey, Victor, ask Craig your question that you had.
What did you ask about? Oh, was there something specific about Sour Grapes?
Oh no, I mean, you basically covered it. I just think how it's a film nowadays that people appreciate, when back then maybe people didn't see it.
I don't know if people. I don't know. There was something
I appreciate
about
it.
I remember looking at it and going, I do remember, because I got pretty close to Larry enough that we used to go out to lunch all the time, and he would give me updates, like pre-production. He was in pre-production, and he said, I got a director of photography. I was like, great, who is he? He goes, I can't, he was the shortest guy, and I needed to have someone I could lord over. The first day was the scariest day, because I had to have this weird reaction to Steven Weber telling me I've got cancer. So he said, I'm not sure how I want to shoot this. I may want to just get a photograph of you, because he goes, because we get into this battle over that 3% thing. Yeah. And so he's a doctor, and he's going to get me back for only offering him 3% of what he feels he should get, 2/3 of. So he's going to tell me that I have that, my checkup is, he sees a spot, it seems to be metastasizing. And he said, I just want your reaction to be like, and then off, we'll go on to him. And then I just want to hear you say, mommy, or something like that. But he said, I'm playing with the idea of just taking a photograph of you, just going, and just having a shot, which I think they did in The Producers.
Yeah.
It was, I think there's some shots it's literally a photograph. And he was doing that. I just loved every minute with him. And I remember that first day, that reaction, I went really big in that movie. I decided to go like Gleason big because it made him laugh.
Yeah.
And he, I just thought it's the director's job to pull me back. So I just went huge. And after we shot that scene, and it was the first day, and there's not enough film in the camera, you could easily get fired. He sits down across from me at lunch. He goes, "Well, I've made a decision." And I went, "Here it comes. I'm gone." He goes, I'm going to start chewing with my mouth closed." And I went, "What?" He goes, "I'm 50. Look at that." It's fucking hilarious.
Oh man. I saw Larry David do stand up a couple years ago at the Laugh Factory, and he just did like a guest set or whatever.
Yes.
And yeah, I think he was just trying out new ideas for Curb Your Enthusiasm. I don't know, because it didn't seem like
Look, I would imagine that Norm did. I dated Janine Garofalo for like a year.
Oh, nice.
She was oh yeah, she was.
Oh, not nice. I don't know.
No. And I love Janine.
Oh,
What's the
nice.
new-
Yeah.
Now we know he was away doing his busy work. Fantastic. Good work. Good work. No, I love Janine. Janine, I actually say this without reservation. Janine's a great American.
Yeah.
She's more than a great comic. And I've told her this before, and she's laughed. And I've said, I'm not even being funny. You have the courage of your convictions. When everything started going down with George Bush, she would just go on everything. She just became all about, holding their feet to the fire. She paid the price professionally too for it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I adore her. I adore her. It's always nice when you date somebody and you end up friends with them. There's somewhere that I'm constantly playing out death scenarios, but more or less I've made some good choices. I've got a good gallery of exes. But we didn't know with Sour Grapes what was going to happen. Just that it was funny. He was going for it. There was one point, if I don't know how familiar with it you are, but I was leaving. I just get fired. My boss fires me, and I am so arrogant because I've won this money.
Right.
And we're standing at the door, and I said, "Well, good day." And he goes, "Good day to you. Good luck to you." And I go, "Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Good luck to you." "Well, thank you." "Well, you're welcome." That's sort of like bizarre. And Larry said, I think this could be the rest of the movie. And we're like literally like 20 pages into the script.
Right.
He goes, I would seriously consider coming back and just having these guys have this pleasant, unpleasant exchange. And then eventually an hour later, just start running credits. There was a moment where he was really considering that. He goes, I don't know what to do. I don't know. So I don't know what happened with that movie. I think a lot of it was, I know he didn't direct any of the Curb Your Enthusiasms.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was probably a good idea. I think he's such a genius that you need somebody on the outside to interpret it. And that might have been, he was a little close to it. He certainly earned the right.
Oh no, definitely. Yeah.
I think it could have benefited from an outside point of view, but I can't blame him at all. I mean, some things just don't cook up. Most things don't cook up.
Yeah.
Wait,
and when you say cook, you don't mean like cooking crystal meth. You mean like making a movie.
Making a movie. But imagine crystal meth. But that's But wait, you said something about he had this thing about he kept notes. He has a little notebook that he carries. So when he does stand, you said he probably wanted to try some ideas for Curb. Well, he kept a notebook routinely that had Seinfeld ideas. Because I asked him, I said, "How did you do that?" I know it's not a show. There's no such thing as a show about nothing. They're like these brilliant little half-hour farces, and I
Yeah.
can't one that I didn't enjoy. I can't think of one. And I said, "What? How do you do that?" And he said, "You start from the end. You think," he goes, I have these books, and you should be carrying this." And that's what Janine always said too: carry a book, because once you're older than 17, your brain starts turning into a sieve. You learn one idea, and if you're a comedian or any kind of a thoughtful person who wants to express an idea, hold on to an idea, it's torture when you lose an idea.
Yeah.
So that was the same thing he did. He lost one of his books. I remember this. We were shooting an interior scene and he shut the set down. It was the only time I've seen him ever get upset. He was unflappable. The only time I'd ever seen him get upset was he couldn't find one of his notebooks. And if you think, that's one of these notebooks has probably 150 Larry David ideas in it. It's gold.
Well,
He shut the set.
I have the notebook.
Yeah, but tinier. So you hold it further away from the
Oh,
screen.
dumber.
I'm talking about. Yeah, brown ones, little brown notebooks,
Oh, okay. I'm
And
clear.
50 it had to cost at least $50,000 to shut a set down.
Oh,
with
yeah.
with added everything up, and he found it absolutely worth it.
Oh, man. Well, Craig, thank you so much. I want to respect your time. I know you got to get going, but is there a place where the folks at home can follow and support you, like Instagram or Twitter?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. We still call it Twitter, but I don't know for how much longer. But everything is Mr. Craig Bierko, MrCraigBierko. Mr. Craig Bierko on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram. I tend to spend most of my time doing Instagram, which I married that to Facebook, and X is kind of a pirate's den. I don't spend a lot of time more, unless there's
like it got less fun. Yeah.
What are the kids doing? Meeting at the bowling alley? What do you do?
Me, I do stand up, and that's all I do. I don't meet anyone at the bowling alley.
You advertise yourself.
Oh, yeah. I say, yeah, I'm gonna do stand up. Come meet me at the stand up show, and then go to the bowling alley. I don't know.
Stand-up show. Where are you at? Where now?
Right now I open for TJ Miller, so we're doing San Diego in a couple weeks, and
You're out in LA.
Yeah. So
Okay.
But yeah.
If let me know if you're in New York.
Oh, definitely.
You ever come to New York? Love to come and support you. I think there's a place called Stand Up New York. It's right around the corner from me, and I keep walking by it, and I literally can't tell if they've closed down or not.
Oh, you should go in there tonight, see if they're closed down.
It's a good idea. You're a wise man.
Thank you. Ah. All right,
Yeah.
Craig. Well, thank you so much for riffing with us. It was awesome, and I know you get a lot of podcast offers, so thank you so much for saying yes to Reza Riffs.
Hey, drowning in podcast offers. Show business is great. Okay. Pleasure, and anytime. Let me be your Randall. Okay.
Oh, definitely.
I'll be your.
We'll take you up on that, Craig. Have a great day, buddy.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. That was the interview. Subscribe, rate, review, and he's gone. All right.
Every time without a fail, man. Like we're about to talk smack. No, I'm just kidding.
That was the interview with Craig Bierko. It was a great one. And hey, Victor, I'm sorry we couldn't get to your question.
It's okay. No, I felt like.
Was it not a good question?
No. I just felt like I'm like, oh wait, I'm gonna interject and like interrupt this, series of Norm stories and observations and.
I felt you really wanted him to see who this guy who's gonna play Butthead is, because you put him on your thing.
Oh no, I definitely did, but I saw.
I was like, ah. Victor's
know.
trying to get your attention.
Oh no, I got it, but we never talked about it, and that wasn't even my question. And then I was just like, I had a question about Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, then I had a question about general acting, and then I'm just like, just if we're on a time continuum, like it's okay because we talked about more important stuff than what I had to say, which I thought was important.
We'll get him back.
We'll get it.
We'll
Yeah.
get him back. All right, Rifter, subscribe, rate, review. Victor, you got anything you want the folks to know about?
Geez, I got some shows coming out, but I don't know when this is gonna be.
Oh, that's a good question
yeah.
because with me, you never know.
Yeah, but I have some shows coming up. Check me out at Puro Papi Pacheco, PuroPapiPacheco. I sound like Porky Pig right now. P-A-P-A-P-A-P-A-P-A-P-A. That's all, folks. But
Oh, that's all, folks. All right, we'll see you guys next week on Razor Riffs.